I'd like to give a massive thank you to my best man for organising an absolutely brilliant stag do in Ibiza and everything you've ever done for me, Vicky and the kids in all the years we've known you. Thanks a lot, Paul. So again, can we make a toast to the best man, please? To the best man. Finally, to my amazing wife. What can I say to you that I haven't said 1,000 times before? When you walked down the aisle today, you took my breath away. I feel so lucky to be standing next to my soulmate, the one woman who brings the best out in me and understands me like no other. There's a saying that you don't marry somebody you can live with, you marry somebody you can't live without. And I think that sums us up perfectly. I look forward to our future together with our beautiful girls, Keely and Millie. And for my last toast, could you please again raise your glasses for the most important toast of the day to my beautiful wife, Vicky. I love you. To Vicky. Now then. To pass you on to the best man. And for those of you who don't know him, he's been one of my best friends and has been for about 18 years now. However, there is a little something I need to make you all aware of. When we were younger, Paul developed a strange condition that causes him to make up all kinds of fictitious stories and thoroughly believe in them. So if you can avoid upsetting him, bear with him for a few minutes and maybe even humour him, that would be fantastic. Without further ado, I'd like to hand you over to the best man, Paul.
Cheers, mate. Nice one. Truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God in here. Right, everyone alright? Firstly, he's introduced himself, but I'll introduce myself again. My name's Paul Harris. If you haven't guessed, I'm Mark's best man for today. As this is my first best speech, I asked a few friends about what to talk about. And most get on the internet and use other people's ideas. I just hope no one's ever heard them before. About 2 weeks ago, I asked Mark if he'd written his speech. And he informed me that his and Pete's speech were just formalities. And mine is the main event. Cheers. So, it better be good. Mark McAllister, or as his friends know him as Bassett. I've never worked that one out, but it's got something to do with family. I'm not going to go into at all, not today. Has been a good friend of mine for over 20 years. The first time I ever met him was in my late teens. And my first memories were a really good laugh, a really big smile, and really long flipping hair. A lot of us back in those days had long hair, including me. But his was the longest blonde hair I've ever seen on a man. And looking at him now, you wouldn't believe it, would you? He loved ridiculously loud car stereos, and as most of my cars back then were held together with speakers and amplifiers, we got on really well. Things I definitely do remember about him were white Nike Air Max trainers, and as most of his mates are going to understand this one, this
Chaos.
light blue Total Chaos jacket that he slept in and did just about everything in. Oh no. The one thing that I regret about my younger years is I never went to university. Now Mark, believe it or not, did. He went to Bristol University to study something to do with aerospace. Is that correct? I guess that one, sort of. Now, as with most of us back then, if you were given a large amount of money, e.g. a university grant, a bank loan, you're going to spend it on anything else but education, and Mark was no exception to this. Let's just say, the uni course just did not get finished. But I remember a year or so later, he got a letter from the university advising him that if he didn't take his final exams, all the money he had acquired would have to be paid back. So we hastily drove down to Bristol so that he could take his exams, but not having done the full course, you can guess he didn't do very well. He did eventually sort a career path out and studied to learn to become a master carpenter. I'm not sure where the master bit comes in, because every time he goes into my old man's shop, he's buying wood filler off him. So my dad says, yeah. I think it's a wind up. A few other things happened around this time, but I will spare the Mark the blushes and come up to more present day stuff. However, if you do speak to him later, ask him about a certain Austin Metro that he acquired on numerous occasions to, well, just ask him. If he doesn't tell you, buy me a drink at the bar later and I will tell all. Yeah, I think a lot of people do know that. Now, to celebrate Mark's 30th birthday, he came up with paintballing. Now, Mark is very competitive, and to be honest, pretty good at online shooter games. So, I'm quite sure in his own mind, he thought he was going to easily win this one. Now, as most people who have tried paintballing know, it hurts when you get hit. So, you do need good camouflage. Call me a bit devious, but I made him wear a white bright t-shirt that day with a printed target saying shoot me. Needless to say, it was a sitting target and he finished up a bit black and blue. At the end of the day, we ended up in the pub. Mark used to drink. He used to drink pretty good actually. But now, no. I don't think I've ever seen anybody throw up before a tequila shot, drink the tequila shot, and then throw up again after the tequila shot. He most certainly set the standards that day, didn't he, mate? Right. I don't think there's many weddings when I can say the best man has known the bride longer than the groom, but in this case, it's true. At this point, I'd just like to say how beautiful Vic looks today. And even you don't look too bad, do you, mate? Hey. I've known Vic for a long time now, and I've seen her grow up from teenage Syston Park Rebel to a mother of two great kids. And I'll always look on her as a little sister I never had. She's crying now. I told her she would. She's always good for a bit of advice on what will have been put out on Friday, because I'm useless at remembering such things. And a quick text saying brown or green does help a lot. Cheers, mate. So I suppose being called very early on Sunday morning last year to rescue out the snow was her way of getting favours back off me. That morning I woke up with the usual Sunday hangover and wanted to ignore the phone, but as it kept ringing and I'm obliged as best man to answer. A flat battery was the cause, which according to her, Mark was supposed to sort out a long time ago. But Mark being more of a thinker than a doer, it never got done. Now, how did the relationship start? I know Mark's looking forward to this bit. Well, I'll tell you. You may have heard some stories of how they first met. Well, forget those, because I'm going to tell you my real story anyway. But months before it all came out, Mark was texting somebody on a permanent basis, which for most guys only means one thing. He's got a new bird to go. I really couldn't understand why he wouldn't tell me who this girl was. It was a huge mystery. So for months, there was a girl that Mark was secretly seeing, but for whom he can all hush-hush about. I was talking to somebody who will remain anonymous, but he is in this room. Right. You should look very close to home. At the time, I was in a relationship with Vic's sister Karen. So I did ask him on a few occasions, is this new girl Vic? But he always said positive no. Of course, I believed him. You know, he was one of my best mates. And friends don't lie to each other, do they, mate? After a few more weeks of denial, eventually he admitted that it was Vic he was seeing. The relationship blossomed, and the next thing I knew, they were going on a holiday to the Caribbean, so I knew it was getting serious. We all used to go drinking out on a Friday night in Syston. This particular night, I was sitting in a pub with Mark and a few others, when he said in a very slow, low, sheepish voice, "It's pregnant." I said, "What?" "It's pregnant." At this point, I nearly choked on my pint, and I really didn't know what to say, but a couple of things thinking about. One, Pete's going to kill you. And two, all the years I've been going out with a kill bear, you've managed to start a relationship and get one pregnant in less than a year. Obviously, the child in question is the beautiful little Kiki here. And I think she wants to say something.
Well done, Keely.
Well, 3 years later, they're just as gorgeous, if not a little bit crazier. Millie over here, and she didn't want to say something, but she does now. Okay, safe, right? Should have seen me 2 hours ago. I kind of knew when Mark became a dad, he would make a flipping good job of it. Because he's a bit of a perfectionist, don't you know? The times he used to go around his house and he'd bring Keely over to me, upside down, holding her ankles with her giggling wildly to herself, you kind of got the picture that he was made to be a family man. Not sure how he'll handle the situation when they both grow up though. To be honest, I can't flipping wait when they both start bringing boyfriends through his front door. I'd pay to see the squirm on his face and the grilling he'd probably give any of them before he gave any blessings out. I think one of the funniest things I've ever witnessed was when Mark had an operation and had to have his jaw wired shut. Having a conversation with somebody who just mumbles words and ain't through for a straw is just hilarious. Unfortunately, the doctors couldn't do us all a favour, and Mark eventually regained the power of speech. When Mark asked me to be best man, I was very happy to say yes. And I'm going home, I've got 2 texts off him. The first read, I've just told Vic. The second read, she's now crying, LOL. Of course, I was very flattered to be asked. And as the shortlist for Mark's suitable and reliable friends was very short, it's no wonder I got the job. The speech was one of 2 major tasks I had to do. And the other one was, of course, plan and sort the stag do. We ended up at Ibiza, and although everything went pretty smoothly, Mark was constantly wearing sunglasses, Carlos was not very well in bed, and Jono was a bright shade of red. He'd fallen asleep in the sun for 4 hours with no cream on, idiot. One last story before I finish, and it's the most recent account of Mark's laid-back attitude to following simple tasks given to him. Recently, I had an operation on my elbow and was told by the hospital I couldn't drive for 2 weeks. So on this occasion, I had to rely on other people to drive for me. I asked Mark to pick me up when I was discharged from the hospital, and he said, yes, no worries, I'll do it, yeah. On the day, he rang to say he was outside waiting. So I walked outside the main entrance, but no Mark. Puzzled, in pain, and I mean some serious pain, and still very groggy from the general anaesthetic I just had, I thought he might be another entrance. So I rang him again. And he said again, he was definitely outside where all the ambulances are. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no ambulances here. Basically, he was sitting outside the A&E of the Royal, and I was standing 5 miles away outside the Leicester General. 20 minutes later, he turned up, and we all had a good laugh about it. Now, before I come to a toast, a big thank you from me. It's been a real pleasure to have this opportunity to be able to talk about a family who have been particularly close to my heart for a very long time. So, with that, I end with a toast. I ask you all now to grab your beer, your wine, or whatever you've got in front of you, and toast the future and the happiness of the bride and the groom.
Bride and the groom.
Hold on. Another bit. I'm boring you yet. To Mr. and Mrs. McAllister, may your life together bring much happiness, love, and more children. Hopefully, boys, because I reckon Peter and Rich must be getting a bit cheesed off with all these women around them by now. To the bride and groom.
The bride and groom.
Thank you.
Well done.